Man, you guys, the creators just couldn't leave the ending alone. They couldn't just let me believe that it was ambiguous or open-ended, whatever words you want to use. Hey guys, what is up? DJ Man here, back in another video. In today's video, we're here to discuss how Korrasami is canon. It is legit canon. The creators have come out and put up a post on Tumblr saying that yes, Korrasami is a thing. And we're going to be going over the post in just a little bit. But before I get into the post, I just want to go ahead and go over with you guys how I really kind of feel about the ending of those last 30 seconds of the series, and then we'll get into the post. So, how do I feel about those last, 2 minutes to 30 seconds of the series? Well, just to be honest with you guys, I don't like it that much. And it's not that I'm like 110% against the ending or anything along those lines. It's just, I just don't see their relationship like that, whatsoever. It kind of just feels, out of nowhere, a little bit out of place, and just a little bit forced. Yes, you can go back and say that, there were hints here and there of them having a strong relationship. Like the fact that Asami is the only one that Korra writ to, and also the only one that she sincerely apologized to for being gone for so long. But overall, I just felt like they had a very strong friendship. Nothing along the lines of them wanting to be with each other. So my main problem is, if I haven't already said it already, is that I just don't see their relationship like this. But I was like, okay, whatever. They left it ambiguous enough, even though it is strongly implied that they end up together. It still could be interpreted as ambiguous, so okay, I'll be okay with it. But then they had to come out and say that no, it is canon. So I got the post right in front of me, here on my laptop. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over some of the key points that I would like to go over in their post here, and I'll leave a link in the description below if you guys want to follow along. So, how do I feel about this post? Well, at first I was like, screw them, but then I was like, this is their story, and they can do whatever they want with it. But I'm still going to rage about it, at least for a little bit. So the first thing I want to point out is that one of the creators states that our intention with the last scene was to make it as clear as possible that yes, Korra and Asami have romantic feelings for each other. Then why did I feel like it was kind of ambiguous? Because you're an idiot. Would you like to try that again? Because you're ignorant. That is actually a little bit better, but let's try just a little bit better further than that. Take that a step further. You were in denial. I can accept that. Let's go ahead and continue. It says, the moment where they enter the spirit portal symbolizes their evolution from being friends to being a couple. Many news outlets, bloggers, fans picked up on this and didn't find it ambiguous. Unlike myself, I did find it very ambiguous. For the most part, it seems like the point of the scene was understood and additional commentary wasn't really needed from Brian or me. But in case people were still questioning what happened in the last scene, like myself, I wanted to make it a clear verbal statement to complement the show's visual one. I get that not everyone will be happy with the way that the show ends, like myself. Rarely does a series finale of any show satisfy the show's fans, so I've been pleasantly surprised with the positive articles and posts I've seen about the Korra's finale. He goes on to say that I've read some heartwarming and incredible posts about how this moment means so much to the LGBT community. Yes, having two cartoon characters of the same sex hook up with each other means so much. Dude, man, quit being a douchebag. You're gonna hate on my T Mudkip? Alright, he's right. I am being a douchebag. I'm just fanboying out for no reason. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to the next post from the other creator. He starts out by saying, you can celebrate it, embrace it, accept it, get over it, or whatever you feel you need to do. I feel like I need to rage a little bit and then I'll get over it. It continues on by saying that there is no denying it. That is the official story. We received some wonderful press in the wake of the series finale at the end of last week, and just about every piece I read got it right. Korra and Asami fell in love. Were they friends? Yes, and they still are, but they also grew to have romantic feelings for each other. When? He continues on by saying that I have bragging rights as the first Korrasami shipper. I win. As we wrote book 1 before the audience had ever laid eyes on Korra and Asami, it was an idea I would kick around the writer's room. At first we didn't give it much weight, not because we think same-sex relationships are a joke. I don't either, you guys. I'm not hating on those people's lifestyles. I'm just saying that I just don't see Korra's and Asami's relationship. To continue on, but because we never assumed it was something we would ever get away with depicting on an animated show for kids network in this day and age, or at least in 2010. He continues on by saying that once Mako and Korra were through, we focused on developing Korra's and Asami's relationship. What? Oh, their friendship, not their romantic relationship. Okay. Oh, before I continue on, just a quick thing, just to remind you guys that I'm not going over the whole article, I'm just going over the stuff that really stood out to me. So he continues on by saying, at that point, I didn't want Korra to have to end up with someone at the end of the series. We obviously did it in Avatar, but that even felt a bit forced to me. So you're telling me that, you know, Aang and Katara felt forced, but this Korrasami thing doesn't? This is like 100 times, no, 1,000, like 1,000,000 times more forced than freaking Aang and Katara. You gotta be kidding. Get out of here. He continues on by saying that I'm usually rolling my eyes when that happens in virtually every action film. Here we go again. You know, he's stating that, you know, having the main boy and the main girl end up with each other. It was probably around that time that I came across this quote from Hayao Miyazaki, which everybody should know who he is. Basically, the quote from Miyazaki says that there's an unwritten rule that just because a boy and a girl appear in the same feature, a romance must ensue. But rather, I want to portray a slightly different relationship, one where the two mutually inspire each other to live. If I'm able to, then perhaps it'll be a closure to portraying a true expression of love. Then the creator of Avatar continues by saying that I agree with him wholeheartedly, especially since the majority of the examples in the media portray a female character that is little more than a trophy to be won by the male lead. And it continues on by saying, so Mako and Korra break the typical pattern and end up respecting, admiring, and inspiring each other. That is a resolution I am proud of. I can't really argue with that statement, you know, that's basically true, so let's continue on. Okay, it continues on by saying, however, I think there needs to be a counterpart to Miyazaki's statement. Just because two characters of the same sex appear in the same story, it should not preclude the possibility of a romance between them. Wait, what? Miyazaki said absolutely nothing about same sex. He was talking about a boy and a girl. Where is this guy getting this from? He continues on by saying, not everyone is queer. His words, not mine. But the other side of the coin is that not everyone is straight. True, true. The more Korra and Asami's relationship progressed, the more of the idea of a romance between them organically blossomed for us. What blossoming romantic relation crap are they talking about? Then he continues on by saying, however, we still operated under this notion, another unwritten rule, that we should not be allowed to depict that in our show, you know, stating that, you know, the unwritten rule being that you guys should be showing this gay stuff on television. You know, at least on Nickelodeon. It continues by saying, but as we got closer to finishing the finale, the thought struck me, how do we know we can't openly depict that? And here's why I want to kind of point out something here, guys, that I forgot to say earlier, is that I would be completely and utterly for the finale if they developed the romantic relationship between Korra and Asami better, which is none. Or at the very least, at the end of the series, when they're staring into each other's eyes, they could have at least had them say, I love you to each other. I know they probably couldn't got away with having them kiss each other, but saying I love you to each other, they probably could have got away with. He kind of continues on by saying that no one said we couldn't do that depicted, and it was just something we assumed. He kind of continues on by saying that if we want things to evolve, we need to take a stand against it. And I didn't want to look back in 20 years and think, man, we could have fought harder for that. Mike and I talked it over and decided it was important to be unambiguous about the intended relationship. He continues on by saying that the network was supportive. That's kind of awesome. There was a limit, but of course there was a limit to how far we could go with it. It was originally written in the script over a year ago that Korra and Asami held hands as they walked into the spirit portal. We went back, we went back and forth on it and the storyboards, but later in the remake process I staged a revised version where they turned towards each other, clasping both hands together in a direct reference to Varric and Julie's marriage thing. That's pretty awesome there. Okay, to summarize the rest of the paragraph, they say they got some dude to do the music for them, and they wanted the guy to make the music very romantic for them or whatever, but I never really saw the music at the end very romantic. I just felt it was just normal Korra music. He continues on by saying that I think the entire last 2-minute sequence of Korra and Asami turned out beautiful. And it was. I'll give credit where credit's due. It is very beautiful. He goes on to say that I love how their relationship arc took its time. Excuse me. He's probably talking about their friendship, not their romantic stuff, or at least he better be talking about their friendship. He continues on to say that if this seems out of the blue to you, like it does to me, I think a second viewing of the last 2 seasons would show that perhaps you were looking at it through only a hetero lens. First off, I shouldn't need to go back and rewatch stuff if the relationship was actually there. Or at the very least, a romantic relationship to be there, because it really isn't. Because yes, there is a strong relationship, but not romantically. Secondly, it's not that I don't see the romance between them because I'm looking through hetero lens, it's just that I just don't see it. He continues on by saying that, was it a slam dunk victory for the queer representation? Again, his words, not mine. I think it falls short of that, but hopefully it is a somewhat significant inching forward, and I agree with that, with the fact that it wasn't really, you know, a slam dunk. You know, like I said, it's just kind of two cartoon characters hooking up with each other. He continues on by saying that it has been encouraging how well the media and the bulk of the fans have embraced it, but sadly and unsurprisingly, there are also plenty of people who have lashed out with homophobic nonsense. Yes, that is sad, but it is very unsurprising that some people will lash out against that. And I'm not one of those people. I'm not lashing out with homophobic nonsense. You know, again, you know, I don't really particularly care that they are a bisexual couple. You know, I care the fact that I just don't see it, and it's out of nowhere. It wasn't developed enough, and all those things along those lines. To just sum up the next paragraph, I talk about how some fans have come out and lashed out against them, saying they just caved into the Korrasami fans. And then the guy kind of retorts with saying that, well, if we would have put him with Mako, does that mean we would have been caving into those fans? He kind of continues on by saying that they probably would have got backlash no matter what they made the ending. Which is true, but do you guys know what I think the best course of action probably would have been? For Korra not to end up with anybody. Not that I want her to be forever alone, but just for the end of the series for her to be, single. And not just because she's my waifu. This guy I was talking to explained it the best. He wrote that I was hoping that Korra would end up single, as another way of showing her growth in contrast to Book 1, to show that the hero doesn't always have to get the girl or the guy. It would have suited her, but it's over now. And I agree like 110% that it would have suited the ending a lot better for Korra to end up single than it is for her to end up in a relationship with Asami that really didn't have any substance to it. At least romantically, it didn't have any romantic substance to it. So back to the post, he says that Mike and I have always made both Avatar and Korra for us, first and foremost, and then right after that, he says, but this particular decision wasn't only done for us, we did it for all our queer friends and family and colleagues. The last thing I want to point out is that he states that it's long overdue that our media stops treating non-heterosexual people as non-existent. And that is actually true. You know, people do need to know that these people are out there, so that they know to. Do you really want to finish that joke, DDG the Man? Do you really want to finish that sentence? No. No, I'm not going to finish that joke. So, again, you guys, overall, I didn't like the ending, but everything else about Korra was freaking amazing. Even though people give crap to like the second season for one reason or another, I had no problems with it. The rest of the series was wonderful. You know, the rest of the finale was freaking wonderful. It's just those last few seconds that I just don't like. And I kind of said this in my Korra finale review, but I'm going to go ahead and restate it here, that the ending of the series kind of gives me the same feeling that I felt at the ending of Dragon Ball Z, where Goku ends up like leaves his family to go train with his kid. Like, what WTF are you doing, Goku? And here, you know, this relationship just comes out of nowhere. It's like, whatever. Again, my main problem is that I just don't see their relationship, but what's done, it's done. You know, Korra is over now, so it's whatever. And so go ahead and leave down in the comments below on what you guys think of this whole situation, of this whole thing, what you guys think of the ending, all those things along those lines. And if you guys like the video, like the video. And if you like me, subscribe to me. And as always, this is DDG the Man, and I'll catch y'all next time.